Dear friends, this is a very important period where we have the opportunity to honor our ancestors. Now, why should we honor our ancestors? So first of all, most people don't like spiritual blabber nowadays. So let us talk about medicine. Modern medicine agrees that somehow or the other your DNA and the hereditary stuff causes the health issues, causes the longevity in your life. Every doctor agrees that hereditary factors are very important as far as the health is concerned. It's not just what you eat and what you do, but the hereditary factors which are passed down through our DNA by our ancestors, by people, by our parents, grandparents, generations above that, right? So that is one thing. Secondly, when we go to the shamanic traditions, the ancient traditions which were indigenous traditions, then we will see that during this period of August, September, this is usually a transition from summer to winter, and this is the period in which they utilize this time to purify, to cleansing rituals, purification rituals, ancestral rituals. One of the tribal healers that I met from the northeast, he told me that 70% of our stuff, all the issues that we have in our life, up to 70% can be attributed to our ancestral line. You know, because we get so much from our parents, from our grandparents. There's so much we carry which has come from them, which has come through our DNA, through our bloodline. That's why brothers and sisters from the same parents, biological siblings, are called blood relations, because we carry the same DNA, the same blood in the sense, right? So, but nowadays there's a sense that, you know, we are not belonging to the parents, we are not belonging to the country, we are not belonging to our native culture, we are individuals. In Indian culture we call it Swayambhu, as if we have just dropped from the moon or something like that. Right? So there's this impression, or there's this idea that we are not very dependent on all these external things, or our ancestry, or our origins. But that is absolutely not true. When we do not acknowledge our ancestors, when we do not acknowledge our native culture, we are weakening the root chakra, because we are not acknowledging our roots, and without strong roots we cannot grow very strong, you know, because a plant with weak roots cannot grow very strong, it cannot flourish, it cannot flower, right? So it is very essential that we acknowledge our roots, who we are really, and not just the last few years, last few centuries, but going even beyond that and seeing who are we, where do we come from. And our ancestors have played a big role in our lives, but do we ever thank them? Do we ever feel gratitude that my personality, who I am, good or bad, my strengths, my qualities, everything comes from the ancestors, but we never acknowledge them. So, and the capitalistic culture says that, you know, it says that you have made it. It doesn't say, it doesn't honor the ancestors, it doesn't honor the earth, Mother Earth. So the materialistic reductionist science which came during the industrial era, it says that we are the doers of everything. Mother Earth gaya bhad mein, means Mother Earth, we don't care about Mother Earth. We don't care about the skies, we don't care about the winds, we don't care about nature. And nowadays there is pseudo-environmentalism, which is also very dangerous. So I think, friends, we need to utilize this period of Pitru PaKsha, as it is called in India, or Mahalay. It is from the full moon that just happened few days back till the new moon. So these 15 days are available to us. If you can't do anything, just help someone. Feed crows. That is a beautiful remedy in our ancient Indian culture. Feed crows. Just take some curd, yogurt, and mix it with rice without salt, without spices, and just keep it in the afternoon during lunchtime. Just keep it so that the crows can eat it. You can feed cows, you can feed dogs. If you are in a country where these are not available, then you can feed any animal. You can just leave it in nature where animals will come and eat something. Also, there is this great practice of Annadanam in India, food donation. So in India, even the poorest of poor, if they are near some kind of spiritual place, pilgrimage place, they will always get food. So donating food gives tripti, gives contentment. And this contentment, this energy of contentment is transmitted to our ancestors, is transmitted to whatever we are doing in our lives. So this joy, this contentment we get upon eating food, because food is our basic requirement. And food is food and breath, right? We need food and breath to survive. The rest of the other things are additional things up the Maslow's hierarchy. But food and breath is the basic, and breath we don't need from others, but food we need, right? So the giving food is a great act. It is very simple. Of course, there are detailed Shraddha rituals which are to be done on the tithi, on the day, as per the death of our ancestors, parents and things like that. If your parents have passed away, you can think of doing that, but otherwise Annadanam, food donation, is something very great. Yeah, so that is simple ways, and it has nothing to do with religion, or because all ancient cultures, all indigenous cultures, they acknowledge the ancestors, they acknowledge these sons and daughters of the soil, they acknowledge the grandfathers, the grandmothers, right? They acknowledge the medicine men. So I hope this perspective helps you to see how much you have gained from your ancestors. And many a times when a bloodline is not going forward, let's say we cannot have kids, let's say we cannot have some kind of some kind of progress in our life. It is also because the ancestors are prodding us to pay attention, to be in gratitude. You know, they are prodding us in some way, that energy. So we have to periodically do something when our parents have died. If our parents are alive, our grandparents, make sure that your parents do something for their grandparents, for your grandparents, for their parents, and things like that. You know, so it is about honoring the ancestors. It's a beautiful way. In the Christian tradition, people give masses, they go to church, they offer masses, they pay for that, and that is also nice. You know, so every tradition we honor the ancestors, we thank them, we give gratitude during this period, and this period is a beautiful time when you can do this. It's a beautiful autumn season and you can do this, you know. Also, I would recommend that you pray to your ancestors, pray to them, acknowledge them, honor them, you know, thank you, I love you. These beautiful words you can put out in the ether, in the universe, and it will reach them somehow or the other. So this is what I can think of right now about ancestors. It's very interesting, it's very important. Also, I want to mention about stuck ancestors, because stuck ancestors are those people who could not transition in a nice way. When they left this body, they could not transition, they could not go to the other realm or whatever it is, they could not, they're somewhere stuck on this plane without a body. So these stuck ancestors can be the cause for many issues in our life. We call it Pitru Badha in astrological terms. That is the obstacles posed by the stuck ancestors. And these stuck ancestors, they don't need Shanti, they don't need gratitude from you. They need transition, they need Gati. Gati means transition. They need to be freed from this earth plane. And sometimes they may be engaged in some things, or they may be stuck somewhere, so they may not be fully ready to go, but it is your duty to convince them and let them make that transition. So this might sound a little mysterious, occult and things like that, but I've seen it many times. And I would recommend that if you feel something like this is there, one of the indicators is unnatural deaths, deaths due to suicide, deaths due to accident, constant failure of marriages in the family, a lot of people not having kids in the family. These are all indicators of stuck ancestors, but not always, you know. So it also gives you a lot of progress, it gives you a lot of freedom once you do this for your stuck ancestors. So that is different from the rituals of Shanti or giving peace, giving gratitude, which I mentioned earlier. Okay, so let me know if you have any doubts about this, and stay in touch. Cheers.